through the trenches of World War I, but communication between headquarters wasn't held together by wires. It relied on fragile wings. Pigeons became living messengers, tearing through clouds of lead to save entire battalions. A bird named Cher Ami, despite a shattered breast and a severed leg, flew those final miles to deliver the coordinates that stopped friendly fire. It was an absolute triumph of biological intelligence over the chaos of destruction. Generals bowed their heads to these feathered heroes, carving their names into medals and writing their exploits into strategy manuals. Civilization relied entirely on their homing instinct, on a biological loyalty that knew no borders and no political beliefs. When they returned from their flights, they weren't just carrying notes, they were bringing back life, snatched right from the jaws of death. We built monuments to them, called them the saviors of humanity, and saw every flight as a symbol of an unbreakable will to win. But the moment the guns fell silent, yesterday's champions instantly lost their status. A world that had grown used to their service suddenly saw them as nothing more than a source of dirt and urban disease. Why did we so easily forget the very creatures who literally carried the weight of our catastrophes on their shoulders? We turned yesterday's saviors into outcasts, swatting them away in the exact same squares where we used to throw parades in their honor. Great recognition gave way to mass disgust, and the memory of countless saved lives dissolved into the hustle of the concrete jungle. A strange amnesia took over, making us see these creatures as nothing but annoying ledge dwellers, completely forgetting that their ancestors were our only lifeline to hope in history's darkest hours. Maybe our rejection is just a subconscious attempt to block out our guilt. Guilt for using them and then throwing them away when we didn't need them anymore. We are afraid to look into the eyes of a bird that remembers the taste of gunpowder and the cold of death, because that stare reminds us of our own Every time we see them circling overhead, we are facing ghosts of the past that aren't asking for food. They are just silently witnessing our moral decay. The heroes who became outcasts didn't change. We did, choosing comfortable indifference over an honest sense of duty. And while we keep chasing them away, history continues its ruthless countdown, waiting for the moment when we will once again have to seek salvation from the very creatures we despise today. Biological perfection is hidden in the very structure of how they perceive the world. While humans rely on glitchy gadgets and satellite signals, the pigeon uses complex quantum mechanics to navigate. Their retinas contain cryptochromes, proteins that literally allow them to see the magnetic lines of the planet. This isn't just an instinct, it's a topographical map hardwired into their DNA, and it works no matter how cloudy it gets. They read the infrasonic vibrations of the Earth's crust, picking up distant thunderstorms or the crash of ocean waves from hundreds of miles away. In the chaos of the urban environment, these abilities transformed into a staggering level of adaptability. The concrete labyrinths of our megacities became their new ecosystem, where architectural ledges replaced rocky cliffs. They perfectly calculate the updrafts swirling between skyscrapers, conserving energy with an efficiency that even our most advanced drones can't match. 95. Their brains process spatial data in an instant, turning a chaotic skyline into a highly organized system of navigational landmarks. We think of them as urban shadows, but in reality, they are the true masters of the airspace, armed with a cognitive flexibility that lets them thrive where any other biological system would have collapsed long ago. They didn't just adapt to us, they studied the rhythms of our existence, calculating rush hours and resource hubs with mathematical precision. When they freeze on the ledges of high-rises, they aren't looking at the trash under our feet. They are staring deep into our daily grind. In that motionless gaze lies the cold analytics of a creature that doesn't need our technology to see how the world really works. They watch us from a bird's-eye view, as if conducting an endless experiment, evaluating just how fragile our civilization really is. What hides behind that serenity? Perhaps it's the realization that we are just temporary tenants in their world, and all our rushing around is nothing but static against the backdrop of eternal magnetic fields. They are waiting for our systems to crash, ready to reclaim their place as the keepers of the survival codes. 95. Every beat of their wings is physics honed to perfection. Every flick of their head is a scan of a reality completely invisible to our limited vision. We look down on them, unaware that real power belongs to those who silently study our weaknesses, waiting for an ending they have already seen 1,000 times. The city has turned into a geometric trap, where every corner is designed like a death sentence. We built fortresses of glass and concrete, leaving not a single gap for those who grew up trusting the sky. Birds, whose ancestors navigated by the Earth's magnetic poles, are now disoriented in a maze of mirrored facades. The artificial light flooding our megacities until dawn scrambles their internal compasses, turning the journey to the nest into a fatal flight into the void. Sharp spikes, installed on ledges just to keep building facades clean, have become a new weapon against the very creatures that were once our only salvation. This architectural betrayal has been elevated to an aesthetic, where a clean surface is valued more than the life of a creature that is now seen as just an obstacle in urban design. We created an environment where natural instincts turn into deadly traps. 95. The concrete absorbs sound, making it impossible for the flock to communicate, and smog blocks their landmarks, leaving the birds to wander through a thick haze of human ambition. Every glare on a glass window looks like open sky, becoming a point of no return for a high-speed flight. We stripped them of their right to rest, turning every ledge into an impenetrable fortress coated in chemical repellents. In this system built on indifference, the bird has become a hostage to its own biological code, which no longer computes in this new reality. But who is the real pest in this artificial ecosystem? We love to put labels on those trying to survive among our creations, completely ignoring the fact that our own architecture has become a tool for systematic extermination. Every new, sparkling clean building carries the invisible despair of those who crashed into it, trying to find their familiar sky in the reflection of our selfish ambitions. We've turned our cities into necropolises for the winged, bragging about our technology while abandoning basic conscience. In this endless cycle of building and destroying, we became the architects of our own disgrace, creating an environment where just trying to survive is treated like a crime. 95. And as we keep pushing nature out of our perfect neighborhoods, the very essence of our humanity is dissolving into that cold, calculating concrete. We locked ourselves in cages of our own making, and now it's only a matter of time before those walls start crushing us with the same force they use today to destroy everything that doesn't fit into our sterile world. So who will turn out to be the real parasite when the last living creature abandons these dead stage sets? The Anthropocene isn't just a geological epoch, it's a mirror reflecting the sheer scale of our ego. We like to think of ourselves as creators, but in reality, we are just architects of catastrophe, where every new skyscraper is a tombstone for the living connection that once held our world together. We built a system where life is strictly valued by its usefulness, forgetting that the true greatness of a civilization is measured by its capacity for compassion. Wild nature doesn't ask for our worship. It simply demands the right to exist, a right we systematically steal away. Rethinking the relationship between humans and the planet isn't an environmental issue. It's about the survival of our very spirit. 95. We need to realize this. Every act of violence against the natural world is a step toward our own spiritual death. It's time to stop dividing the world into the useful and the useless, into background props and main characters. If we don't learn to see every living creature as an equal partner, rather than something to exploit, we risk ending up totally alone among the dead structures we built. Can humanity admit its guilt before the last symbol of our connection to the past vanishes from our city squares? The answer isn't hiding in some new technological breakthrough, but in our ability to look into the eyes of those we usually chase away. Admitting our mistakes is the only way out of this dead end, where concrete has somehow become more important than breathing. We have to rethink the ethics of coexistence, turning domination into partnership. Otherwise, our legacy will be nothing but dust on empty ledges. Time won't wait for us to weigh the costs and benefits. It mercilessly cuts away anything incapable of living in harmony. Look around. The world is still giving us a chance to fix these distortions, to restore a fragile balance before the echo of our footsteps becomes the only sound left in an empty space. We have to become guardians, not executioners, and realize that true greatness doesn't come from the power to conquer, but from the wisdom to preserve. Only then will we stop being ghosts in our own cities. The time has come to make a choice. Either we recognize the value of all living things, or we witness our own downfall, watching as silence swallows the fruits of our ambition. The world is waiting for us to wake up, And every beat of a wing overhead is a final call to our humanity. A call we can still hear, before it's too late for redemption.